this is a good time to start thinking about 2025. And I know we can set new goals and everything whenever we want, but in this experience, it seems that dates have a significant meaning. And so I've never been the kind of person to have an issue with New Year's resolutions or anything like that. I myself, when I look at my human experience, for some reason, certain dates always seem to be like very reoccurring. Like, I have had, I think, 3 boyfriends of 3 years ask me, each relationship, ask me out on the same date of the year. And it sounds bad, but then we went to the same music festival and they told me that they loved me on the same date at the same music festival. It's a really interesting cycle that I was in for a while in my life. Now I'm in another country, so that can't happen, but maybe it could happen in a similar way. Who knows? So one of my favorite topics in the world, because it changed my life, is identity shifting. And there's the book, The Alter Ego Effect, really wonderful book. It talks about this topic of creating a new identity, which is really just your highest potential self, and embodying that to literally jump timelines, right? To shift into a new physical perceived reality. And I'm gonna touch this fly before it crawled on the camera. I was doing a guided meditation with my therapist one day, and she said, like, once I opened my eyes, she's like, a fly was crawling on the camera, and to me it looked like, like Godzilla or something, because it's an optical illusion. So this topic of identity shifting, it, like I was saying, it's really about embodying your higher self. And so what happens, so well, first, some examples of it. We've talked about this in a video before, and it's one of my favorite videos, but I just want to keep touching on it, especially as we kind of think about the new year and new timeline. And again, well, so many things come through at once when I do these. There's a lot going on Earth right now. It's been a very, 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 very intense time, as many of you know. And so this new year is going to be something very dense, but in a good way. I think a lot is going to be created. And so we have these examples of people like Kobe Bryant was Black Mamba. That was the alter ego that he had, that he would embody when he went onto the court. Beyonce was Sasha Fierce before she identified as Beyonce, because she no longer had the subconscious beliefs, but she was shy and had a hard time when she was younger going on stage and confidently dancing. And so she created Sasha Fierce, who she would say, okay, I'm Sasha Fierce now. Sasha's not afraid. Sasha's not insecure. And then worked through it. And like we always talk about on this channel, it's like the more and more you do something, the more and more you give your mind evidence that it's safe, that it's okay. And then it just becomes normal. The more that you leap, the more you show your brain that the unfamiliar isn't as dangerous as it thought. Because the subconscious doesn't want you happy. It wants you safe. And so it's going to do anything in its power to keep you safe, which is creating these limiting beliefs, these actual manifestations of a block of why you can't do something, or like so often one of the ones that I hear and see all the time with clients and friends and family is like, oh no, actually I decided against, moving to that other country or starting that business or whatever, because like things are just familiar here. I have my routine, I have my friends, I have my family, I have my, restaurants that I like. This one fly just keeps touching my hand. And so then they stay. But that's the subconscious mind. But if you do this concept of creating the alter ego, the identity that is all of you without your blocks and limitations, when you're in situations that require decisions, you say, what would, and this is even helping me right now actually as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, oh, I could sit with this for a little while after this video. What would blank do? Maybe you give this identity another name. Maybe you just have it be your name and that's enough. But get off of me, fly! And so in any situation, what would blah, blah, blah do? And then you start doing that more and more and more. And then also in visualization, you go visit blah, blah, blah. Maybe for me, it's Araya. And I feel into Araya. I feel into her in each of the chosen timelines that, I see as levels of this human experience. It's like, I see where things are going to take me, and I see how she holds herself in a room. I see how she dresses. I see how she speaks. I see how she doesn't do certain things, how she doesn't engage with certain things, how she spends her mornings, how she spends her evenings, how she spends, her alone time, what she does in her own thoughts, how she, chooses to eat, how she socializes, how often she socializes, what kind of car does she drive, what does her home look like, what do her sheets feel like, what color palette did she choose to go with in her decor, in her closet, and all these things. And so feeling into it can be such a beautiful experience. And I love double whammies. I love knocking these all out at once, because when you feel into this identity of yourself that you choose to be, that you already exist as in the quantum field, you're also going to heal the nervous system. You're going to rewire the mind, because when you start thinking about these things and you start visiting these things, it's the truth of who you are. It's feeling, that is also familiar, because that is you. And maybe at first it's not. Yeah, at first it wouldn't be, because you would have your subconscious beliefs that are maybe limiting you, like this is impossible, but then you catch those, right? In my client calls, I like to, we talk about the chosen timeline, we get clear on it, we visit it, and I say, what's coming up right now? Like what thoughts are coming up? And then it's sometimes so many, so we try to catch them. And it can be like, well, this isn't possible for me because I'm not good with money, and this isn't possible for me because I took a break and I haven't really been doing my things, and that makes me not deserving of it, and my mom always told me I wasn't good at it, my brother always told me I wasn't good at it, whatever the stories are, right? And so then you start catching them. And that's where you really can make a difference, is you're bringing awareness around these stories. And there's so many ways to rewire and reframe. You can catch them and just simply choose another thing every single time. Like you're a professional athlete. Like it has to be your dedication to go away, to decondition your mind, right? It just like non-stop. If you can just catch these thoughts that tell you that you're something that you're not, that you're less than you are, and choose another thought, like actually no, I can have anything I want, I can be anything I want, the only thing that holds me back from being what I want is this right here, this thought right here, and you start to choose differently. Or you can do things like EFT tapping, and just really, there's different ways. There's just tons of visualization. The flies are being so annoying today. I'm like a horse trying to hit them all. But we haven't had that many flies recently. It's probably because I'm standing over here in the mud with them. We just had this wonderful yoga class here on the farm. I will include a little video clip right here. So it was so magical. We have a storm coming in right now that's supposed to be happening as of last night, but it's not really. It's been like here and there waves of showers, but it was supposed to be like intense rain and thunder, and so maybe it'll come in a little bit here. But we're moving in a direction on the farm that incorporates a lot of wellness and holistic practices, which is really nice. And it helps me with this decision that I've been making, that I've been sharing with you guys. It's just, there have been some hard times here that I've faced recently, and it has made me question if I should stay here or if I should go to my farm in Ireland. Here's Guapa. Hi, babe. She was part of the fundraiser that you guys helped me with. I was considering leaving because things were getting hard here with the situation that is going on, and I'm still sitting with it. Sometimes things can be tricky, and this is probably relatable, and that's really why I'm sharing it, is when we're trying to make a decision, sometimes it can be, we feel one way about it, but then we're getting all these signs from the universe that's another. Like, for example, I was going to see that double-decker bus the other day, and some of you have asked how it went. We didn't make it. The car that we took, one of my friend's cars here, broke down on the way there. He said, I was driving it this morning, it was totally fine, and then it broke down on the way there. And over the past week, I've found 3 4-leaf clovers, which I'm debating going to Ireland. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, is this a sign? Am I meant to not get the bus? Am I meant to go to Ireland? Am I meant to stay? But then we have this yoga class today, and we have these talks that I've been having here with the owner. We have such exciting projects that we're working on, and so many wonderful dreams and visions that are coming true and coming to fruition, and that I get to be a part of. And then I'm like, well, this feels good. If I tap in, this feels good. And so then there's this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and really dysregulation. And so in order to get in touch with your intuition and your higher self and your guidance, your divine guidance, you have to be regulated. You have to have a regulated nervous system. And so many of you, including myself for many, many years, almost my entire life until a few years ago, have never experienced dysregulation because you maybe grew up in an environment that was so dysregulating. And so now that's just your normal state. That's your muscle memory. Your muscle memory is being in that, just surviving in that. So sometimes where we have to start with all of this is regulation, including myself, because of being sick recently and having all the stress of what's been going on the farm with this situation, and then trying to make this decision, this life-altering decision. My dysregulation has kicked in, and so then it's encouraged me now to rest, to sit with it, to meditate, to visualize, to EFT tap, to get into regulation, to do yoga this morning with someone guiding it rather than I've been guiding it myself. And so it was really nice to have a very experienced yoga instructor with us for these past few days. And so I asked her to guide it, and we're doing shaking, which is really good for the nervous system. We're throwing it up to the universe. We're sitting out there in the pouring rain, which is so cleansing. And then it's important after that to go into your heart space and to say, what is the decision for me? Right? Because especially what I've been talking about recently as well is these darker forces that seem to be, often following light workers, seem to be pretty relevant recently just in time and time space perceived reality. And so I'm like, was it a darker energy that broke down the car and then sent the 4-leaf clover? Or was that divine guidance? Or, is it my opportunity to stay here and work through this darkness and bring the light through, or do I just turn away from it? And so all these thoughts are thoughts. It's the mind trying to be in the driver's seat. And we've talked about this as well. I'm sorry I keep saying this, but when you make daily videos, I'm I don't know, a lot of you watch these videos every single day, and so sometimes things are repeated, but I think that's good too, because it helps us start to practice these things and to remember and ingrain. We have so many things to observe and learn and watch, and so consistency, I think, is very important, especially with this stuff when you're trying to rewire your mind and trying to remember the truth of who you are and get what you want. And so now I don't even remember what that thing was that we've been talking about. Let me go watch it. I am still sick. Okay, the driver's seat, the mind being in the driver's seat. We want our soul in the driver's seat. We want our mind in the passenger seat. We want our body in the back seat, like the child, the important child who we have to listen to, who we have to nurture, who we have to protect, right? The body is the vessel here on earth that experiences, and it will be sending messages of what's going on within this current 3D world, and we have to acknowledge it. And so this divine union of the three, that was one of the most powerful downloads that I ever had in a meditation that I shared with you guys, when I was back in France, before I had the van, before I had lived on the farm, all this stuff. And so we want the soul in the driver's seat. And when you notice that you're bouncing back and forth with these thoughts of what I've been sharing in my own reality, then it's time to regulate It's time to make that little shift of who's sitting where, and it's time to start tapping in. And then the mind can choose, because the mind has the free will to choose. The soul knows, and the mind can then choose from that place. And so that's my own process right now. And when we're doing this process of divinely uniting the three, and we're clear on our higher self energy, our not even like alter ego works, but it's not an alter ego, it's your truth. It's your limitless self. And when you're clear on your limitless self and who they are and how they show up and what they want and how much potential they have, when you start leaning into that and choosing that with your free will and knowing with your highest self, your divine guidance, your truth, that it's all possible for you, you are unstoppable. In the book Reality Transurfing, the way of you doing this quantum manifestation is by getting your mind and your soul into alignment when you choose with your free will. And so if you know from a divine place, from a truth place, that it's possible, and your mind agrees because you have moved past the subconscious beliefs and limiting beliefs about it, and you face all these balancing forces and pendulums that are in front of you and say, that's not true, this is true, that's not true, this is true, you will move to that timeline. It will be inevitable. It might take some time. That's the chain link process of getting there. But if you can move through time and space, knowing that you will arrive there, then anything is possible. And so getting clear on who you are, who your identity is, that you wish to be, that you truly can be, then the world is your oyster. You can have whatever you want. And so I hope that this video landed for you. There's so much more we could elaborate on this topic, and we will more and more as we move into the holidays, and then we get into the new year, and we use this as an opportunity to step into this abundance that is available to us as like things are all shaking up here with all these crazy storms, all this stuff, and all this power that's trying to be obtained by certain entities here on Earth. A lot of changes are happening, and you are a big part of the shift on Earth. And so the most important thing that you can do right now for Earth is practicing alignment and getting into this divine union and remembering your truth and going for what you want. What you want, your true desires, like from a soul aligned place, when you follow those, you will support Earth. We all have a very important role, and they're all going to look so different, and they might not look like spiritual things, but if it is a soul calling, you are assisting the shift in Earth. So thank you for being here. If you want to sign up for one of my programs, I have 21 days to rewire your mind, 21 days to know your divine guidance, and little donkey sound in the background, donkey song. I have one-on-one options as well. I did leave my calendar open. We've been busy on phone calls, you guys. Thank you so much for booking with me. I love working with you. If your intentions are pure. My one-on-one options are not for anything other than health coaching, spiritual coaching, getting clear on your chosen timeline, doing all the things that we talk about in these videos. It's not a date. I don't know how else to say that. It is not an opportunity to speak with me in an intimate way or to have those intentions. Please do not book with me if that is your intention. That's all I have to say. If you do have the intention of receiving guidance, of working together, I would be so honored to be your coach, to be your guide in that sense. So I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. If you want to donate to Lex's fundraiser, he's right here. I'll show you guys Lex. We are working on saving little Lex the pony. He has a month here until his owner gets out of jail and takes him back to his property. We are in negotiation with him right now, trying to get Lex to be able to stay here forever. So I have that fundraiser linked below. If we don't rescue him, there's a high chance that he just goes to slaughter because he kicks every rider off except for this one volunteer that we had here who wants to come back and live here. So link that below. Anything that is left over will go to our extensive hay bill. which has been adding up, and so the farm is going through the shift. The sale of the farm just finalized, and so now we're able to start operating as a business, doing trail rides. I can start the wellness center, do the retreats here. We can start growing, but there is a period of time where the farm has to get out of debt, which the farm is in debt with the hay bill. So anything left over will go to that. So thank you so much for your support to the farm. And it's really such a special thing to live here and be a part of it. And whatever happens moving forward, this will always be a place that feels like home. So thank you guys for being a part of this. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.